it's Lynn Brown. Welcome to the Gritty Women Podcast. I'm a mindset coach, or you could say I'm a results coach. I just love to partner with people who want to become better, because the first half of my life, literally, I was trapped by the opinions of others, and then in my spare time, I was the best people pleaser ever. I found my purpose. And when you finally found your purpose, it takes some of us a little bit longer, but your passion meter is off the chart. So today I just want us to think about triggers in our life. What happens on those days when out of the blue, something just pops in? It's a trigger. And if we're not careful, it could derail us. I think this is an easy topic to talk about because I was just hooked last week by a trigger. And they are so subtle. They're so cunning and they're so sneaky. But they rob you of so much peace and entangle you in the web. I think most people really believe that the results in life are based on outside circumstances. Growing up, I always heard this catchy phrase, the devil made me do it. And I'll be honest, I said that growing up a lot of times. I can remember spilling my milk one night at dinner like 3 times. Finally, I just screamed, the devil made me do it. But it was nothing more than an excuse for my behavior. As I've shared before, I'm a person of faith. I sat on the second row, the red velvet cushions, the whole 9 yards for the first half of my life. And I heard the words spoken from the pulpit. But it was almost like it was falling on deaf ears. I did not believe this for myself. I did not believe the words that I was hearing from me. But what I did believe, I had convinced myself that the world was out to get me. I can't really say that I had a victim mindset because I was always a fighter. I would always come up swinging, regardless of how many times I fell. But at the same time, I believed that I was not enough. I wasn't rich enough, skinny enough, or smart enough to break through the trap that I found myself in. And what I did discover was that in the middle of the drama, I could kind of forget about my current circumstances and conditions. So I just ran from drama to drama. It was all I knew. I looked for chaos, and I found it every time. And I think it's so true. We find what we're looking for, regardless of what it is. I remember memorizing, Bible verses at church camp and Sunday school. And I did that just so I would get the pen or get the ribbon and be in the cool group. You get to dig a prize out of a little treasure chest. But I was just playing not to lose. I was just playing to fit in, thinking that would make me feel like I belonged. I was fighting against the very thing that I longed for. I wanted peace. I wanted joy. Who doesn't want that? And I don't think there's ever been a more important time for all of us in this world to seek peace and seek joy and seek, just a united front together. But I wanted so much to be free from this web that I had entangled myself in. But I was never taught those techniques or given the tools. Yes, I was taught manners and I was taught respect and I was told what to think. But I really wasn't taught how to think. I grew up saying what I was supposed to say. We've all laughed about, hearing Christianese. We learn to say the things that we're supposed to say when we're supposed to say them. I didn't really mean it in my heart. It was just coming out of my mouth. One verse that I have always heard, and not until really the last couple of years have I really embraced it, but take every thought captive. Now, I never really knew what that meant. And I certainly had no way of knowing how to do that. All of my thoughts were limited. They were limiting beliefs. I had a negative self-image. I had convinced myself, by age 11 that I was not as smart as my friends. I was insecure. Oh, my stars. insecurity ran through my mind 24/7 or 24/8, honestly. It was a constant. It never went away. So this is, I'm just being transparent here, but it was not until it was 7 years ago, honestly, this November, 7 years ago, that I discovered that my whole life, up until that point, 7 years ago, had been driven by these limiting beliefs. And that was a hard pill for me to swallow. It's just an expression. But, it was. For a few minutes, I thought, well, what a failure. Who wastes the first half of their life? And well, to answer that question, honestly, as I work with individuals through coaching and through training and workshop and speaking, the people that I meet, people on my podcast, there are a lot of people in that category. And the really sad part about it is that many of them don't even know they're stuck. It's all they know. They are truly operating at their best level of awareness. And that's hard for some of us to accept. But honestly, we were no different. Whenever we've been stuck before, we were operating from our very best level of awareness. So my number one go-to tool was control. I would try to control others. Even as a child, I would, if we were playing a game, I would try to control the outcomes. One of the first lessons I remember learning in this category was with playing cards with my granddaddy, playing the old maids, and I hated to lose. So I took the old maid card and I cut the corner off because I thought, well, that way in the deck I'll be able to see which corner snipped off and I'll never lose. And I did win the first round. He let me win that first round. So I thought, I've mastered this. I can use this in all the other games too. Until he took the deck of cards, went to the bathroom and snipped every corner off of every card, and he shuffled them out. And I knew then I was busted. I used to sabotage myself first so that others would not. I'd make jokes about not being smart in math and making jokes about the grades that I received on my papers. I wanted to beat others to the punch. I did that too with my weight. Fat jokes. I'd talk about, just make jokes about being fat and being overweight. When you speak, whatever rolls out of your mouth, it started first as a thought, because everything begins as a thought. The computer or phone that you're listening to this on was first a thought. Everything's created twice. First in the mind, and then through the mind and produced in a physical form. Every thought comes from a previous thought or response. And this is might be new for some of you. Trust me. The first time I heard it, I was like, my mouth literally dropped open. I was dumbfounded. It just was like all the little missing puzzle pieces of my life started coming together at once. And it was pretty fast. But now I know the truth. And the truth has set me free. And for the most part, I catch myself before I spin out of control. But now, again, last week I got triggered and hooked and just, for a minute, just acted like I was 2 years old. I'm just going to be honest. But being intentional and being aware of where you are and thinking about what you're thinking about, it does not happen by accident. You can't just find the cute quote on Pinterest and fix you a caramel, whatever, coffee, whatever your favorite thing is. Click your heels 3 times and ta-da, ba-bum, it works. In our 63 Days to Gritty mindset training, you can ask the participants in the program. They are working. They are taking daily action. They are putting techniques into practice. Because, y'all, you can listen to podcasts until the cows come home. Okay, that's a little expression that we say in the country. But you can listen to podcasts and you can post quotes and frame them and put them on your wall, and you can do all those things. But until you take action and put these things, these tools, these techniques into place, nothing is going to change. And there's some people that still, are resisting change. Change, nobody wants to change except maybe babies that have wet diapers. And really, they don't really necessarily like it. So if you haven't enrolled yet in our 63 Days to Gritty, it's a continuity program. It starts over. You can start any day. You can start today for that matter. You can send me an email, lynn@lynnbrown.net. Just email me, Lynn, Lynne, @lynnbrown.net, and I'll send you a link. It's simple. You sign up. It's $63. Okay, I kept it, the cookies on the low shelf. I just kept it at $63 because I figured, you know what? You can invest $1 a day in your growth. And honestly, I don't even know how much money I've invested in my growth, but I had a long way to grow. You're probably not as far behind as I was. So, but anyway, the point is you got to invest in yourself to grow. Socrates said the unexamined life is not worth living. And most people would rather stay on the couch of life watching Netflix with a bowl of Ben and Jerry's Chunky Monkey than to pull back the curtain and start the work. And I get it. I've done the couch thing with the Chunky Monkey. I've done that. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. But until we know what is driving our behavior, nothing will ever change. You got to think about, how are you starting your day? How are your thoughts, your responses? Or in my case, my facial expressions. Oh my stars. I don't even have to open my mouth. You can just look at my face and tell what I'm thinking. And trust me, sister, it is not always pretty. But that'll be another day. We'll talk about that another day. For now, we're going to just keep this nice and simple. But seriously, the self-evaluation is the key to change. And we really don't want to do it. It's just like today. I avoided a conversation with one of my mentors because honestly, I just thought, you know what? I'd rather just do what I got to do. I don't want to pull the curtain back on that part of my life that I'm dealing with. I just don't want to do that right now. So I simply kept the curtain closed, didn't pick up the phone, didn't get on the call with my mentor. Not proud, just being honest. So self-evaluation is the key. We are designed to do this. It's why we have such a complex mind. We were created to be able to think and change. And so yes, your self-talk matters. So let's just start here. Just a simple place, your self-talk. This week, let's just focus on this one area. When you feel yourself getting tense or irritated or cussing or murmuring, if you don't cuss, if you just, maybe you don't. And I don't cuss too much, but every now and then I do. But whatever it is, whatever you do, whatever causes this reaction, think into it. What is the trigger? I always love it when people fuss and moan about the traffic they're in. They're like, oh, I'm going to leave early. That traffic's so bad. Or I'm out here on the interstate. They'll call, the traffic's so bad. We've been sitting here for we've gone 3 miles in an hour or whatever. But it's like they are beyond the traffic. Like they're not in the traffic. The traffic is bad, but they're not in line in the traffic. So often we're just so close to it, so you can't see the forest for the trees. You're just too close to see it. So last week, when I got hooked by this trigger, I realized that I was acting from a past event. I was reacting from an old story that I had created. And somehow it found its way back in my mind, and I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. But I guess the great part of the story is the happy ending is that I didn't stay there for hours like I used to. I'd hang the little twinkly lights and get the marshmallows and, gather around the campfire. But I didn't this time. I was able to adjust and talk myself out of it. Now, I wish I could tell you that was just because I read a cute little quote or whatever. It's not. It's been daily work. I've had to work hard to unlearn and relearn a new mindset. So this is not for wimps. Living your best life is not for wimps. My coaches and mentors have worked and are continuing to work with me through this. I was reminded recently that, the growth zone could also be reserved referred to as the struggle zone. I was sharing, about some struggles recently, and one of my mentors said, that's a great sign. You are growing. Celebrate the struggles. I was just like, oh, okay. Trust me, that big blue comfy couch with the twinkle lights hanging all around, the Netflix and the chunky monkey, the comfort zone. You're right. There's not a lot of struggle there. But it's not where your growth's going to happen. It's a dead-end street for your dreams and your best life. So I'm glad you tuned in today, and I'm so thankful that you're becoming aware of the triggers. And once we can identify the triggers, they no longer have power over us. I believe in you, gritty sister. I believe in your dream. So I just want to encourage you to hold your gritty image until next time. Remember, you got to take all these thoughts captive. It starts with taking one captive. And trust me, if I can learn to do this, you can too. And I'm going to leave you with my favorite verse, Romans 12:2. We will be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Until next time, take care and get gritty.